Hey everyone, it's Rachel. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another Glowforge Aura video. I'll be using cardstock paper and chipboard today to kind of show you how it would look like to cut, score, and engrave these papers in this laser machine. And before we dive in, don't forget to hit subscribe so you won't miss any future laser crafting videos. I have tested these out beforehand, so I'll be able to walk you through and show you what it would look like in real time. As you may know, the Glowforge Aura can cut and engrave many different types of materials, but I wanted to bring it back to something that I first started using when I started crafting, and that is paper. And yes, you can cut paper with a machine like the Cricut, but I actually think that the Aura does a really great job at cutting very intricate details. So that is why in my first example, we will be using these designs to create place cards made out of cardstock. I designed these myself, so make sure to grab them in the description below. Light cardstock paper is the paper that we'll be using today, and I like to use anything from 65 to 80 pound cardstock. So let's first start by jumping into the Glowforge app so I can show you how to set everything up. I am in a new blank workspace, so to upload my design, I'm going to press this plus button and press upload. And now I'm going to find a file to upload. So today I am using 12 by 12 inch cardstock, which is the perfect size for the Glowforge Aura. So I'm going to go ahead and put this into the bed of the Aura, and it should reflect on my screen. It now shows the pink cardstock that I put in, and even with the paper that has been already used, I cut something out over there in a corner. But what I like is that I am able to place my designs wherever I want to. So first, let's change the material to cardstock up here in the left corner. I recently used it, so it's in my recent materials, but you could just type in cardstock. Also on this left side, you'll see all the elements of the design. For these lines, I want them to be scored, so I'm going to click into them and select score. For these actual pieces, I want them to be cut, so I'm going to select cut, and I'll leave them at proof grade cut. Then for my name, I want that to be engraved, but I want to change the settings for this, and I could do this by going into manual over here, and I could change the settings. I'm going to leave the speed at 100, but for the power, I'm going to up that to 3, and then I will leave lines per inch the same. You could also click and drag the elements to change the order of how the laser will cut. I usually like to have the scoring or engraving go first and have the cut go last. Okay, so for this entire project, the time that it will take is 11 minutes and 57 seconds. You know it's ready to cut when the button is blinking, so I'm going to press it and let it do its thing. I wanted to mention that I didn't weigh down this piece of paper with anything. I know that if I did a cut like this in my bigger Glowforge, it would probably be flying around and lift up, and I would definitely have to weigh it down in there. But for this one, I didn't. And as you can see, the Glowforge Aura cut this out pretty nicely, and when it was done, I just removed the pieces. The tiny pieces that were lasered out either fell on top or through the cutting tray, and this can easily be cleaned up later. And for the super tiny pieces that weren't able to pop out, I just take a weeding tool like this, or you could use a toothpick and kind of just poke it out. This is what it looks like to have it engraved. It gives off sort of a brown color. As for the cut, it does have some brown around the edges. So naturally from the laser, whenever you're cutting paper, you may see some browning around the edges. For the other two place cards, the reason why I made two is because I wanted to show you how you could fold it at the score line to create a standing place card. You can see this very faint score line, and I can choose to fold it backwards and crease it on that score line, or with the same score line, I can fold it forwards and crease it that way. No matter which way you fold it, both of them honestly look the same from afar, but I like to think about these things. And if you're wondering what it looks like on a different colored cardstock, I also cut it out on white cardstock paper. I cut these when I was testing out the settings, and this is what they look like. Again, you got to remember that the laser is essentially burning the paper ever so slightly, and the outcome will look different on different types of paper and different colors of paper. Okay, moving on to a different type of paper and a thicker type of paper, we will be using chipboard. So this chipboard is mainly used for all types of crafts. It has a little bit of a weight to it, but it also is very light compared to other chipboards. And for this, I wanted to see if I could use this as a cheaper alternative to wood and make a name place card and some tags. So now I am going to just place this into the aura and close the lid. We'll be using these designs to create them. I'll have all my designs and the papers I use in this video linked in the description below. So let's go back into the Glowforge app. I uploaded my file already, and since chipboard is currently not an option as one of the materials, I am just going to be using light maple plywood. For these art-shaped lines that I want to be scored, I'm going to click into it and select score. But I want to modify the settings, so I'm going to click into manual, and I'm going to change the power to 4.2, leaving the speed and the number of passes the same. Now for my friend Tracy's name, I'm going to move it up first, and I want that to be engraved. I'll leave it at draft graphic, but I'm also going to adjust the settings a bit. I'm going to change the power to 3 and lines per inch to 115, and I'll just leave the speed the same. And lastly, for these pieces, I want them to be cut, so I'm going to select cut up here. And I'm also going to modify the settings. So again, in here, I'll change the speed to 50, power to 10, and leave it at 1 for the number of passes. If you're wondering how I get all these settings, it's honestly trial and error. And if you want all of these settings in one place, I have a cheat sheet with all the settings for all the materials I've tested out so far on the Glowforge Aura. It's essentially a sheet that I will be updating as I go along and test out new materials. It's free, so go ahead and click the link below so that you could get access to that. All right, now that we have all the settings inputted, let's press print. And you can kind of hear it calibrating and scanning it to give you an estimated time on how long the project will take. It's ready to go, and it will take a total of 12 minutes and 24 seconds. First, I wanted to show you how you could use the score function as an alternative to engraving. So as you can see here, I have a dashed line and a regular line going along the entire tag. If you look closely, it scored a very thin line. If you were to engrave this, the lines and the dashes would be filled. Scoring is basically the laser creating a line as thin as the laser beam itself and doing a quick score or etch on your material. So sometimes I like to score my designs, especially if it's as simple as this, and it definitely is a quicker time versus engraving. And speaking of engraving, this is what it turned out for the engraved place card that I made. I engraved my friend's name on it, and you can see that the color it created looks really nice against the color of the chipboard paper. Like I said, engraving takes longer because the laser is going back and forth, shaving off some of the material off of the paper. I really like how this came out because I am always using plywood to make engraved name tags and keychains, but if I needed something simpler and definitely cheaper, using chipboard would be a really great option. Lastly, with Valentine's around the corner, I wanted to cut out some hearts just to show you again how detailed the Glowforge Aura can not only cut on cardstock paper, but also on a thicker paper like this. I made these scallop hearts, and it's a really clean cut, as you can see. I also like how there are no burn marks to be seen on this paper. You could also engrave a message on this if you'd like, and you could use any of these designs on other materials such as wood or acrylic. So don't forget to grab these designs down below in the description box, as well as my cheat sheet of all of the materials that I have tested out so far on the Glowforge Aura. Everything you need and more is always found down below in the description box. Let me know what materials you'd like to see me try out next, or if you want to see more paper projects, maybe like making a stencil or seeing how many stacks of paper we could cut at once. That could definitely be something I could do, so let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you in my next one. Bye!